Welcome to the Motherhood Alliance podcast, the podcast dedicated to empowering moms and families on their health and wellness journey. I'm Brittany Suttner.
And I'm Andrea Rinkus. Together, we're here to explore holistic approaches that go beyond conventional medicine.
Each week, we dive into topics that matter most to you. Everything from nutrition and mental health to alternative therapies and natural living.
And whether you're a new mom navigating the early stages of parenthood or a seasoned pro looking for new ways to support your family's well-being, you're in the right place.
Even better, all of our guests are local small business owners who you can actually talk to and work with. You can learn more about today's guest and connect with hundreds of other health and wellness professionals through our informative and easy-to-use directory at motherhoodalliance.com.
Before we get started, keep in mind that this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personal healthcare advice. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any changes based on the podcast content.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Are you ready to help your family thrive? Let's get started. Hi, we are Britt and Drea from motherhoodalliance.com, and in this 4-episode series, we're excited to introduce you to Jennifer Philibeck and Mandy Rinne, the energetic and incredibly fun founders of Empowered Minds Kids Studio based out of Appleton. Empowered Minds Kids Studio was started in 2024 after Jen and Mandy, who had been teachers for over 35 years combined, started to recognize that kids needed more than what the classroom alone could provide. They witnessed firsthand that kids needed guidance in building resilience, confidence, and other essential life skills to truly thrive, and that realization led them to take a leap of faith, stepping outside the traditional classroom and into the world of kids' life coaching. Now, as certified kids' life coaches, they offer personalized, play-based coaching to children ages 4 to 13 with the mission to help kids navigate life's challenges with confidence, developing resilience, positive self-esteem, and a strong foundation for lifelong success. Jen and Mandy are also moms who know firsthand that parenting is really hard, and that's why they believe in walking alongside families, offering compassionate support, and just figuring it all out together. As a listener, you're going to gain so many helpful parenting nuggets, or Tic Tacs, as you hear in one of our episodes, from these two ladies. So grab a notepad and pen, and let's jump into today's conversation. Hello. Welcome back to the Motherhood Alliance podcast. We are here with Mandy and Jen. Welcome back, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
We are in episode 3, and this is going to be another jam-packed one. I can already guarantee it, because we are talking about raising capable kids with a growth mindset. How important is that? It's so important. So first off, what is a growth mindset? How do you kind of define that? And then what's the opposite?
So growth mindset is believing in yourself, right? That you can do it and keeping yourself open to all opportunities and seeing them in a positive light versus that fixed mindset of there's no way I could ever do that, right? And I think as adults, we experience both versions of that.
For sure.
But I think when we say oh, well, that's just how I am, right? That's kind of like a fixed mindset, or that's just who I am. But can we grow? Can we learn? Can we adapt? Can we change? Can we evolve? So kind of instilling that attitude and idea right away from the beginning as to when they're kids, that yes, you can absolutely evolve and change and grow and kind of shift your mindset.
This immediately makes me think of the word can't.
Yeah, it bothers me so much when people say, I'm just the way I am. I just, this fixed mindset just rages me. It just makes me crazy.
Yeah. So with the word can't, this is where you hear your kids all the time. Mom, can you get a bowl for me? Well, did you try? I can't do it. Well, how can we get creative to solve this problem? You have a problem to solve. How can we get creative? How do you handle the word can't? Even in your own homes.
Yeah, that's a great question. You guys have the best questions.
Really. I like what you just said, though. That's a problem. How can we solve that problem? Right? So not swooping in to get the bowl for them, because that would take away that ownership of being able to solve the problem. But oh, yeah, it is a little high. How could you solve that problem?
I used to say, show me that you can't. Right? Because then they're like, oh, wait, but I can. Yes, absolutely you can. So please do.
I feel like that would work for some personalities. My
Absolutely.
son, who is the one you can say something to challenge him and he'll be like, oh, watch me. Mm-hmm. Whereas my daughter's like, you're right, I can. So it definitely would be based on the kiddo, I'm sure, on how you would react. How does a growth mindset encourage independence? Like what we're talking about, how can this continually doing it day in, day out, create an independent, not only kid, but adult? Like, how does this bleed into their whole life?
If they believe that they can do it when they're little, right? And you keep instilling that and you model that as an adult, there is going to be nothing that they can't do. Jen and I always say, like, there's no option to fail, right? We've got this. We're going to do it. We're going to make it happen. You are strong. You are powerful. Go get it.
And mistakes are okay, right? Like telling them like mistakes are okay. That's a learning opportunity. That gave you more information than you had before. So now that you have that new information, what would you do differently the next time? So like applauding those mistakes, not making them feel bad about it, or like they want to pour their own milk in their cereal and they spill the milk. Well, what did we learn from that? Okay, it was too heavy. How can we change that? What can we do? Can we put it in a, like just shifting and adapting, which I know I'm a mom. It's the control, right? It's the control. Like, oh, I don't want to have to clean up that milk after.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
just this last weekend, my daughter wanted to pour this big glass jar of juice. And every fiber of my being was screaming like, don't let her do it. Don't let her do it. Like, it's going to be a mess. And I knew she probably would spill it. And she did. However, she learned that, yep, she needed to use two hands and she needed to get a stool and she needed to do this and she needed this type of towel to clean it up. And so, it's that learning process. And I had to just like bite it and let her explore.
Yeah. It's a lot easier as a parent to let them do that when there's not time pressures or like it's not before school or whatever. I always feel
Absolutely.
like it's more of my problem that I'm rushing them, that I'm not allowing their independence or their growth because I'm getting in the way.
But isn't that like a reflection of our schedule?
Oh gosh. Well, yeah.
Right?
And me too. My faults, if you will, as well. The things I need to work on.
But also you're thinking about that.
Right,
So
I know,
it's
and
growth mindset.
Thank you. And that's something, if somebody's listening to this, if you do have those thoughts, you're at least on your way, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's like the first step, right? Acknowledging like, yeah, this is incredibly hard for me to let my kids do these things, right? That just means you're open and right. I always say to my own kids and to our coaches, like we are absolutely doing the best that we can. We're going to make mistakes. All experiences that we go through teach us something. There's something to learn out of everything. And we can't always see it in that moment. But when we step back and reflect, oh my gosh, absolutely. When I spilled that milk, right? Now I've learned like, oh, next time I might hold that at a different angle, or I might, clean it up quicker next time, right? There's always something to be learned from the smallest, failures to the biggest failures.
How can we, when a child is doing something that's challenging for them, and, maybe they say, oh, I can't, and you're like, try again, and then they do it and they succeed. How, as a parent, can you foster that moment to help build up this growth mindset and like celebrate with them? What are things you can like say to them or encourage them with? What are your tips for that?
Yeah. Like, how did that make you feel? Instead of like jumping in right away and being like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. Right? Because that puts it on us. Like, I'm so proud of you. But like, how did that make you feel? Like, you did it. You went through, like, you got through that challenge. Like drawing that awareness for them to reflect on how that makes them feel is huge.
Absolutely. That self-reflection piece, because then the next time that they come to something challenging, the hope is, right, the more opportunities that they have to practice that they're going to be like, oh yeah, last time I did that and it made me feel this way. I absolutely can do it again.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. But then there's also the opposite, right? Where we are dealing with kids who maybe their muscles aren't strong enough for certain tasks, or maybe the mountain is too big to climb. And so, they give their best effort, they go out there, and it could be, people look at failure in so many different ways, right? So you go out and your basketball team loses the game. Now your kiddo is taking that on themselves as like, I'm a failure. I could have done this better. Or it's something as simple in the kitchen as trying to open the pickle jar, and they're trying so hard, but you have to end up doing it for them because they're just not there yet muscle wise, right? Like, how can you help your kids through, I don't like using the word failure for that because it's not a failure, but these growth opportunities when they don't succeed necessarily in the task that they were trying to do, or even mistakes? How can we help them and twist those to be like a more positive and constructive light so that they're not self-criticizing, but they can look at it like the next time?
We often talk to parents about praising the effort, right? Like I noticed, right, that you were working really hard and you kept trying, you didn't give up, right? How did that make you feel? Turning it back to them, that reflection piece, trying to pull out the positives, even in those challenging moments.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I was going to say that too, like that effort, challenge, like praise the effort. Like, oh, wow, like you were so creative in your approach on how you tried to do that. Or like, like if it was a basketball game, like your team really tried so hard and you really worked together while you were communicating, you were, assisting each other. So highlighting all the things that did go well. And yeah, the outcome maybe wasn't what they wanted, but it's still a learning opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also situations, and this is where I have a lot of experience with my own kids, but it's like you think of situations where kids have a daunting task in front of them. So let's just take the example of like you're at a rock climbing place. Your kiddo is looking up at this rock climbing wall and they're saying, I can't do that. Logically, they're strapped in, like they're safe. Everything's going to be okay. They should really try this. This is something that's really going to make them feel very proud of themselves if they accomplish it, no matter how far up they get. But they look at it and maybe a little bit of anxiety is starting to come into this, where it's deeper than just I don't feel like it or I can't type attitude. It's like a I'm scared attitude. How do we help those kids step forward into those types of situations?
I think, again, going back to having those, what part can you do? Number one, saying it is absolutely okay to be scared. I'd be scared of doing that too as an adult. Not so much of a rock climber. But I think saying like, what could you do? Could we take that first step onto that first rock, or can we grab that? What parts can you do? And let's start there. Don't make the end goal be like, you're going to get to the top, right? Just do what you can do, and whatever you can do is okay for you.
Mm-hmm.
What about if they just say, I'm not doing it? And obviously some situations like a rock climbing wall, it's like, okay, that's really not a big deal in life. But also there's these little moments when I'm like, but this isn't a moment where like either you face your fear and you take a step forward, or you don't. And is that something that's built into their subconscious mind?
It's a really good question. I'm like pondering it here, thinking of like, yeah, in that moment.
Yeah. I think too, like, again, it goes back to that parent aspect. Like
we modeling
want,
it.
Well, also we want so badly for our kid to do the thing because we want them to have the feeling that we know they'll have. And that's sometimes more about us than it is about them. And so checking in, I guess, as yourself, like, is this about me or is this about them? And if they're really afraid to do it, maybe now is not the time to make them do that thing.
As you're talking here, I keep thinking about, you're saying stuff like, as a parent, I would say this, or I would say this. And it's like, how as a parent can I remember to do this? Because I've not been, well, to be honest, we're not trained as parents anyway,
Nope.
but like, how can I change that mindset of saying like, oh, you're so smart. You did so great. I'm so proud of you, making it about me. And instead of saying like, how do you feel? I understand you guys are actually coming out with a parenting course. Can you talk about that? Because I feel like this is a great time to be talking about that.
Yeah. So we, through being parents ourselves, right? Number one. And then through our coaching experience, we just saw that no one knows you don't know what you're doing as a parent. And to be able to have somebody walk alongside you and be able to say like, it's okay to be feeling that way, right? Normalizing it, number one. So we decided that was really important piece to kind of accompany our coachees. So we first started with the idea of when a child starts the coaching program, the parents could also begin a coaching program for parenting. So it would kind of coincide with what the kiddos are learning in their foundational coaching sessions, would also then kind of correlate with the parents. And then we thought, well, should it just be for kids that are going through coaching with us? Or should it also be for parents who just know that they maybe just need a little skill building themselves?
Reminders.
So now so we've opened it up now. Our kind of thought process has continued to evolve and shift. That just, it's for all parents who need a little guidance in all of those hot tips that we're kind of telling and teaching about that are hard to remember.
Yeah, that just sounds so amazing. I'm like, I need it all on my fridge. Like I need it, posted everywhere. I post everything for my kids. Why can't I post it for myself? Right.
Right.
I think we're also busy all the time too. And so we, to your point before about like, how am I going to remember what to say or how to say it? Right. So like having that conversation or taking that time to learn for yourself as an adult so that you can be better for your kids.
Right. And we all know that like you can go online or Pinterest or whatever, you can get like any of these little like cute little sheets that have like the sentence frames, and those are absolutely helpful, 100%. But to be able to maybe have like a program that starts at like step one and does some like reflective work so you can kind of shift some mindset things going on in yourself and then build on that and give it to you like in strategic little doses. Like Mandy always says, like, we don't give nuggets of information. We give like Tic Tacs.
Oh.
Like, right? Like it just has to be like little bits because sometimes a nugget is too much we're not there yet.
We've learned that nuggets are too big, even for us.
Yeah.
So we break it down to Tic Tacs.
Tic Tacs. So having a program that kind of can help and walk parents through that journey and that self-reflective process and give little bits of information.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a self-paced course, from what I
Yes.
understand. And it's not out yet as of
Not
this
out
podcast.
yet. No, not yet. But we're hoping that we have anticipated launch date of the summer.
Okay. Yeah. But from what I understand, you're going to have this on your website. How can
Yes.
people figure out when this is going to happen?
Yeah. So we have a newsletter, and we always love to keep our, subscribers updated on camps that we have or, events that are coming up. So we'll always be putting information in the newsletter about when it'll be dropping, and you can join like a wait list that will give you kind of the information first thing when it drops, so you know when to be able on the lookout for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, like I said, my kid is in your coaching program, but I'm kind of excited for this for me because even though I'm learning through him too, I'm excited to hear more about this program too.
Beautiful.
Well, I find it so funny how all of our episodes we're talking about, how can we apply this to our kids? But actually, we also need this ourselves.
We need this ourselves,
right? So
100%.
in that course, are you focusing on like how do we help our kids through situations? But then I'm assuming also like these are things you can apply to yourself as well.
Absolutely.
So we're going to try and sneak a couple tidbits out of that course here. So like how can parents model a growth mindset? What are things that we talked about in a prior episode, like when we're feeling emotions, actually expressing those and saying those, but how can we do the same thing and model the growth mindset piece?
I think conversations, just again, saying like, maybe this happened at work and this was really challenging and this is what I tried. Right? Again, it's so much of what we want to do with kids is modeling, because if kids see us doing it, it normalizes it. And they're like, hey, I'm not the only one going through this. We always talk about, coaching isn't just for kids, it's for the entire family. And I think that's how Jen and I have come to this like parent portion, because we've seen so many parents reach out to us and so many parents like ask really good, meaningful questions. That's how this came to be, because it's so necessary. And when all of the parents are on board, their village is set, and kids find so much more success than in that just isolation of just kid coaching alone.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Even like, a little, like you said, like a little tip at the dinner table. Could you go around and say, what was the best mistake you made today?
Whoa.
What was the best mistake you made today? And that is like a mindset shift right there. Like, what? Like a mistake? That's not good. But yeah, you learned something. Like, so what was your best one today?
Yeah. Or
and
even
celebrating
like what
that.
challenged you today and you stepped
What
into it.
did you do about it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think about one example that comes to my mind as you were talking, Mandy, is for FitMom, our personal training business, we would teach virtual workouts, especially during the COVID timeframe. And so I would have to teach them here in my house. And sometimes my kids were home and I'd be like, okay, you guys get to watch a movie in my bedroom while I'm teaching this. But I would tell them all the time, I'm like, did you guys know I get nervous before every single one? I've been doing this for years and I still get nervous. What do you think I should do?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Should
asking
I-
for their opinion?
I'm really
Yeah.
nervous. Should I not do it? Or should I do it because I know it's going to serve others? Like this really isn't about me. And so that was an example that I kind of thought of
That's
as you were
beautiful.
going through.
Mm-hmm.
So
Amazing.
one thing that I also am thinking about, because this is a hot topic in our house lately, is when it comes to a growth mindset, I also kind of commingle that with kindness. How can we foster a kindness mindset in our kids?
I think that empathy piece, right? It's noticing how others are feeling and how would you feel in their shoes, which is a really big concept. So
Takes a lot of practice and just intentionality of like, ooh, I notice. how somebody might be feeling. And then like, have I ever felt that way? And what would I want them to do for me in that situation? And then how can I do that for them? So that takes a lot of practice. And
at what age is it appropriate to like, and obviously you can teach your kids this at all ages, but with my son specifically, he is a very strong personality and he's going to be a really great leader someday. Like he is strong, but I love his personality. My daughter is someone who's very naturally kind and thinks of others, more of a nurturer type person. My son is not. He's like, get out of my way, I'm on a mission. So like teaching him to be kind and like go out of your way has been a challenge. We're actually trying something new lately. We're doing kind of a kindness chart in our house. And this is all 4 of us. So I have 2 kids, my husband and myself. All 4 of us, we need to get 8 kindness check marks. And then we're going to do something celebratory together. And at the same time, we have unkindness check marks where and I'm not going to go into all of it right now. But with the kindness piece, it's like, this has really helped him actually, because all of a sudden he's like carrying his sister's snow stuff out to the car. And I'm like, holy moly, I'm seeing some like him thinking outside of himself.
then like saying, how did that make you feel when you carried her things out to the car? Like having him notice how it made him feel in that moment.
I would be really interested to hear what he has to say.
Well, and it's so hard as a parent because I'm like, I don't want to have bribery be the reason that you're being kind, but also literally your brain does not fire to think about these things. So it's more about creating habits is what I'm trying to do.
It's the awareness piece. Absolutely. That's beautiful because you're drawing awareness to it. That's the first step. And then, continuing to model. And like Jen said, how did that make you feel? How do you think it made your sister feel?
Oh, and asking her in front of him, and getting feedback from somebody else.
That makes me think of, we just did a camp friendship, and we talked with the kids in camp friendship about your love language. Like how do you love to be, to be loved? And then how do you give love? And so that kind of connects with that kindness piece. So a lot of times they're not even aware that some of those things are showing love, some of those elements. So that awareness piece, and even just like we just created we have freebie in our last newsletter that was like a love languages bingo, and put it up on your fridge, and then each family member is going through and trying to like check off the love language bingo, and it's like give a hug or carry something for somebody else, like little things like that, but it's the awareness.
Would you be willing to send that to us so we could put it in the show notes of this episode? Mm-hmm. Awesome. That would be great. And are you basing that off of the Gary Chapman books of the 5 love languages and 5 love languages for kids?
Yes.
We're going to link to those in the show notes as well, because those are classic books that every family really should understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, to finish out this episode, I have one other question. It's kind of a ballpark question, something we haven't really talked about yet, but we all sitting here, we have school-aged kids, and those of you who are listening that have toddlers, someday you are going to have school-aged kids. We talked a little bit about schooling in our prior episodes, in our play base and things like that, and how teachers' hands really are tied in some ways, but they're there because they love serving our kids. And so when it comes to raising capable kids, I think that also goes along with us supporting other people in their lives and giving them support in different ways. So do you have any tips on how we can support our teachers better, or just encourage our teachers that they're doing a really good job? Because oftentimes they probably think that they're not when they're seeing the struggle of everyday life and wondering what parents are thinking.
Teachers' plates are really, really full. And the most simple thing, a text message, a note, just words of kindness. I actually, even though I'm out of the classroom last night, just got a message from a kiddo who's in 4th grade now. His mom sent it to me through Facebook, and it was this beautiful thing about, I love Mrs. Rinne and I miss her so much, and it was part of his schoolwork. That little thing, I could get all teary, right? Like it makes us want to keep doing what we do for kids, because most of us in the teaching profession absolutely are doing it for kids because we are passionate and we love it. And you don't have to buy us things, although also nice, right? It's the words of kindness, right? So although I am a words of affirmation girl.
You are. Mm-hmm. But that is so true. That is 100% true. Even just like acknowledging that you understand that they are like giving it their all, that's it. Like that's enough. Like it's that appreciation, the acknowledgement of Like I know you're doing a lot. I know this is hard. Your plates are full, but like, man, we appreciate what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Growth mindset for your teacher.
That's could be it. Mm-hmm.
Right. This was a really great episode. I keep saying that about every single one because I'm just obsessed with all of these. They're just amazing. So one more time for those who are listening, if you guys have not listened to our first 2 episodes, we have had so many Tic Tacs in each of those episodes of just tips, just things that you can bring and apply into your home that's really going to help you on your parenting journey, as well as your own journey personally as an adult. So make sure you go back and listen to those. We do have one more episode coming up. This is going to be about parenting in the digital age and finding balance between screens and real life. This is a real conversation in today's world. So we're excited for that one. One more time though, ladies, for those who just tuned into this episode only, how can they get in contact with you and learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, please check us out at our website, empoweredmindskidstudio.com, or our Facebook page. Send us a message. We have contact us forms on our website. So we love to have conversations. We always say like, call us old fashioned, but we love a good phone chat. So, schedule a call. We would love to hear your story and your goals for coaching or just any questions that you might have.
Perfect. You guys are gems. Thank you for serving our community. We are so thankful to have you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider leaving a rating or review or sharing it directly with a friend who could benefit from the information? We know that you're a busy mom or caregiver, and our goal is to make your life easier by bringing tips and tricks directly from experts into your earbuds. By sharing this episode with someone you love, you can play a critical role in helping to make their life easier as well. We appreciate your time and thank you for being a part of the Motherhood Alliance family.